Let's start off with a deep breath. So, I have been no contact with my biological mom since 2021. Prior to that, we had a weird yet semi working relationship due to her being gone from the ages of 6 to 21. I know y'all like, sheesh, that's a long time. 6 to literally my sophomore year in college. After we reconnected, she told me how she had too been essayed, sexually abused by her father. Her mother knew, and she ended up getting placed in foster care. She then went on to have three children, me being one of them kids, two of which, including myself, was left in the care of a known abuser because there was domestic violence in their relationship. And he was also a pedophile. Now, to what degree did she know? She had to know something because I remember vividly, mind you, I am 35 years young, but I remember being pulled out of my kindergarten class. Miss Harvey was like, Jaquel, your mom is in the hallway to see you. So I'm like, I started panicking because um, my father, quote unquote, had put her on the no contact list. So she was not able to come up to the school. And so I'm like, yo, why is she here? So I went out into the hallway and there she was. She was even kind of frantic. I don't even remember prior to that the last time I saw her, but I still remember her words to this day. Has your daddy started touching you? If he does, let me know. And I'll never forget that. The last conversation we had in 2021, I had to work myself up to it. I practiced, I rehearsed because I didn't want to come off as me directly blaming her or even making her feel bad, especially for how much time had already passed and we were apart from one another. However, I wanted to be real and true to my inner child because my life was literal hell due to her decision of leaving me with a known predator. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Self love is currency. This marks episode 2 of my series, Heal to Reveal. The more you heal, the more you reveal layers of yourself and align with your highest, most truest self. Or reveal to heal. The more you reveal different layers, different experiences, different traumas of yourself, the more you heal. Yeah, I couldn't decide either way, which way. I feel like both of those are beneficial to overall self growth, self love, healing, expansion, all of that good personal and self development goodness. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more because we are getting to the nitty gritty. We are heating it up. Yes, we are talking about real shit on this channel because the more we address the real shit, the more, well, I'll say the less baggage we'll have, and the more free we will be. And the more we will begin to align with people that not only have similar stories and experiences, but have similar desires to grow, to evolve, to heal, and become the best versions of ourselves. Ooh, grammar. Hopefully I ain't got no grammar Nazis on here because you might hear some shit you don't agree with. Um, but yeah, today's episode 2, generational trauma, generational cycles. It's in your blood. So yes, that was a little story time at the beginning that I started off with real life stuff, real life stuff, real life stuff. But without further ado, let me get back into it. Yep. Um, so generational trauma, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I didn't come up with this saying myself, but I've been hearing it a lot lately. I don't know if it's a download, but save the drama for your mama. Um, yeah, that kind of resonates with this. But you don't have to necessarily save the drama for your mama because your mama might be part of the drama, which is your generational trauma. Um, so pertaining to my story time, yes, I was left in the care from my recollection, the ages of 3 till I left for college. So 3 to 18, and at within the Lord help me in these words. Let me free up this throat chakra. You know, it's crazy because when you talk about sexual abuse, it really affects the throat chakra because you are taught to be silent, to sweep it under the rug. That's why we have so many cases that go unreported. And a little known fact about myself as well. Currently, I work in finance. However, my degree is in psychology, and I worked in social services, child abuse, and neglect for about 5 years out of college. So, this information um, is not only based upon life experiences, but also real life statistics of me working in them streets, dealing with people just like myself. But the more that people are silenced and don't talk about it, the more cases that go unreported. But back to my story. I was placed in the care of a pedophile from the ages of 3 to about 18. And this has largely shaped my life. Um, by the grace of God, therapy, being proactive, being adamant about my own healing, I have came out less of a hot ass mess. But I still struggle. I've still had things that I've had to overcome, whether it be addictions, whether it be mental health issues, whether it be um narcissistic relationships I survived in adulthood, a myriad of things that I've had to overcome because of how life started for the young kid. Um, and I'm trying to stay on topic, y'all, because I can get to rambling. But after I reconnected with my mother, she disclosed to me that she had also been sexually abused by her father. And I'm like, girl, I was just thinking about the whole situation as she was telling me what she had been through. So I'm trying to have space for her, be empathetic for her own struggles. And I'm like, yo, like she couldn't protect me if her mother lacked the parental capacity to protect her from a predator. And this was her bio dad. You know, she didn't learn to be a protector herself. But I was still very much angry. I was still very much confused because I'm like, yo, why didn't you try to go to the police? As long story short, like he actually got custody of myself and my sister, and she was proven to be mentally incapable. So he used her mental health at the time against her, and which is crazy. We're talking to no pedophile, narcissist, sociopath, psychopath type ish. I'm not going to go into details of other behaviors that fit those diagnoses I just named off because I want to keep this video to a minimum. But she disclosed to me her own experiences, and I'm like, yo, this is a ultimate mind fuck. So I'm trying to have space to listen to her story, be there. My heart was definitely heavy, and I really felt for her. However, I was still having difficulty myself trying to see her as my mother at the time. Long story short, the conversation didn't really end too well. She thought that I was blaming her, said that I hated her, even though those words never came out of my mouth. And then, mic drop, she told me to give her a call back when I was ready to talk, even though that was the whole gist of the conversation. I was still respectful. And I still love her to this day. However, I felt the need to go no contact. Not only, was I abandoned and I had to face that hard truth. Like that was you being abandoned, you know. But some very horrible things happened because of me, being left in the hands of a pedophile. And then on top of that, I had to be honest with myself about her knowing um what type of person, monster, demon he really was, because if she didn't have any clue, she would have never came to my kindergarten class and pulled me out to ask me if certain things were taking place. So I had to be okay with that reality. I had to be okay with that truth. I also had to be okay with the truth that the whole damn family, just sexual abuse everywhere. And the story gets deeper and crazier. And she had alluded to, because I'm a very inquisitive person. So during the midst of the conversations that I did have with her pertaining to this, I did ask about like her mother and if she had been through that, and she had kind of alluded to her mother also having been sexually assaulted as well. So I'm like, yo, people talk about generational trauma and cycles lightly or don't take it um serious as they should, but it's very real. And it doesn't have to be no spooky, rah rah, super spiritual thing. Even though this is a very um spiritual channel, like it just goes down to behaviors, patterns, um, personalities, and lifestyles looped year after year and passed down generation to generation. That can be a set of healthy personalities, behaviors, lifestyles, or on the other end, that can be a set of negative, dysfunctional, toxic personality, behaviors, and lifestyles being passed down generation to generation. Now, this situation with myself um, and those before me has been very negative, very, very detriment, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, on many levels. I've seen just how divided um, the family tree is. Nobody talking to this person. Family members not speaking to one another because of the sexual abuse, mental health issues, undiagnosed and diagnosed because of the sexual abuse, substance abuse issues because of it, so on and so on. It's a continual cycle of having to cope with the trauma that is also not being fully discussed or disclosed. So, when you have been deemed the generational curse cycle breaker, it's to be taken serious, but also hold yourself accountable, because you wouldn't want anybody, any souls, any peoples that come after you, your own children, to go through, witness, or experience any of the things that you have gone through, any of the loops, any of the continual cycles that have played out in your story, in your game. Like, you wouldn't want to pass that down to anybody after you, especially if it's dark, especially if it's not um good for the soul. So just a few steps that you need to, or things that you need to remember. It did not start with you. Um, so recognizing this has allowed me to breathe, because if you don't know that it didn't start with you, it can be difficult. You just put all the blame, all the pressure, all the responsibility on you. Yes, there's a certain responsibility once you are woke to the generational trauma. Yes, you have a responsibility to do something about it. But knowing that there were people before you that failed, no shade, no tea, but let's call a thing a thing. Knowing that there were people before you that failed, but you having the capabilities of solving the problem, you having more tools this day and age. It's 2025, baby. You having the tenacity, the drive, and determination. That gives you a little bit of a buffer, but knowing that it did not start with you and allowing yourself to breathe through that reality. Get good at getting ahead of things. Um, yeah, so if you know that your family struggle with certain things, get ahead of it. If you know that your family struggles with alcohol abuse, you know that that's like the demonic spirit in your family, maybe you need to slow down a little bit when it comes to the bottle, or not drink at all, because that demon won't get you, and that's on period. This may mean avoiding toxic people. This may mean avoiding narcissistic relationships. This may mean avoiding or limiting toxic habits or traits. This may also mean sustaining pleasure. That could be, again, drinking, eating certain foods, having smacks with people that don't like you or respect you. Let's talk about it. Because all of these things, like I said, demons, demonic cycles, things that are meant to hold back an entire bloodline, they appear in certain people, places, and things. But you are not dumb. You won't fall prey to that. So that's the second point. Step 3, be dedicated to healing that shit for your kids, your kids' kids, for you, yourself, for you first. First and foremost, be dedicated to healing. It starts with you. And I get it. Healing is not an easy feat at all. It's not something easy to dedicate yourself to. But if you don't want to feel like shit, if you want better for yourself, if you want to truly flourish, shine, and be the best version of yourself despite the hand that you were dealt, you need to be serious about your healing journey. And that's that on that. Um, and just a couple more steps. Give yourself grace. You may think your life is so traumatic, so I don't know why I keep thinking burdensome, worrisome. It's just a lot. But that's only because you have the trauma from your ancestors as well, those that came before you that were not so successful in putting those demons to sleep. That's why the burden is so heavy. That's why what you're going through feels like the weight of the world, because people before you succumb to it. That's why whatever trauma was passed down, but you're not doing that. And by you realizing that you won't let the things that happen to you consume you, and you doing the work, you are rewriting your narrative. And that's the final step. Rewrite the narrative. Feel free to hit them with a plot twist, because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people. I'm not going to say a lot. I'll say it's some people that probably thought I wasn't going to ever be shit. And I've had literally what I consider a taboo childhood upbringing. Very toxic, very dysfunctional. Um, but honey, the future is looking very demure. Like I've accomplished a light. I've accomplished a lot despite um what I've been through, and I will not give satisfaction to any of the devils in my life. Whether they be people or actual spirits. No. I'm not giving any type of credit because I can do all things. All things. Y'all know the rest. Period. Um, but yes, rewrite the narrative because despite everything that happened, you can still get any and everything that your heart desires. So, yes, generational trauma, generational cycles, and curses is real, but anything that was created can be broken. Amen. If you are still tuned in listening to this message, go ahead and like it and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know down below how this message resonates, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.